в лице Брэндона также является частью нашего совета. У нас также объединены усилия совместно с представителями парламента, госорганов всех ответственных. Мы сейчас работаем над большим документом, который будет является дорожной картой к нашей стратегии по декарбонизации, которые лидируют наше Министерство национальной экономики и Министерство экологии и природных ресурсов. Можно следующий слайд? И мы двигаемся в рамках тренда, который задают ответственные бизнесмены и ответственные госорганы. Это тренды на декарбонизацию, цифровизацию и деглобализацию. И мы видим, что здесь, конечно, очень большое значение начинают играть устойчивые технологии. И в целом, следующий слайд. И в целом мы видим, что для лидеров рынка, и как раз к таковым себя относят RG Gold и другие компании из сектора горнорудной металлургии, мы видим, что внедрение ESG-стандартов и технологий становится обязательным. И таким же обязательством это становится для финансового сектора. И мы видим, что идет очень большой тренд на зеленую повестку со стороны потребителей. Я вот сейчас нахожусь в Европе и вижу, насколько сильно это влияние даже в не очень больших городах Европы, насколько сильно это влияние в китайских городах и насколько важно это становится для экспортоориентированных компаний, потому что компании без ESG-повестки, они в целом теряют инвестиционную привлекательность. И мы очень рады, что появился такой термин, как ответственный бизнес, то есть предприниматель, который нацелен не только на финансовый результат, но также на уменьшение своего экологического следа, на увеличение социального и экономического воздействия на регион присутствия. Следующий слайд. И мы очень рады, что инициатива нашего совета, она получила очень большую поддержку на самом высоком уровне. И буквально на прошлой неделе глава государства в своем выступлении на награждении Алтын-Сапа объявил, что будет орден МИРЭМ, который со следующего года будет вручаться ответственным предпринимателям. Поэтому я приветствую сегодняшний симпозиум как один из инициатив ответственного бизнеса со стороны университета Нархоз, со стороны RG Brands. И мы как совет сейчас запускаем вот на следующей неделе. Мы об этом объявим совместно с Байтереком о запуске обзора по ответственным практикам. Приглашаем всех сегодняшних участников и RG Brands, и RG Gold значит, и Нархоз тоже, да, к участию в этом обзоре. Всем хорошего симпозиума. До новых встреч. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, Yulia. That was a terrific present. Oh, wait 1 second. Sorry, I need to go back to the original. Thank you very much, Yulia. That was a great presentation, and it's interesting to hear all the positive developments that are happening with the Atomican and responsible business management. So now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Arman Markashov. He's the Counselor General for RG Gold and a very important partner for us. And we've had a very great opportunity to collaborate with him and with his team. And so we look forward to his opening remarks.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. Добрый день, уважаемые участники симпозиума. Я сегодня вкратце хотел бы поделиться с вами нашим опытом внедрения природно-ориентированных решений, которые позволят в будущем компаниям в горнодобывающей отрасли снизить распространение пыли. Мы сфокусируемся на ключевых источниках загрязнения, на отвалах, скрышных породах и рудных складах, а также на технологических процессах, где пылеобразование особенно интенсивно. Традиционные методы пылеподавления, они хоть и распространены, но имеют ряд существенных минусов, таких как, к примеру, высокая стоимость, коррозийность, негативное влияние на растительность. И вот мы совместно с Институтом Нархоз выбрали такой инновационный подход для фитозахвата. Это вот фитозахват, извините, используя растения как естественный фильтр для улавливания пыли. С научной точностью и вот с помощью компьютерного моделирования мы создали многоуровневую систему барьеров из местных видов растения, и что позволило снизить концентрацию твердых частиц более чем на 35%. Это уже не просто у нас озеленение, это такой тщательно спланированный экологический проект, который также соответствует стандартам ESG и целям устойчивого развития. А, Я надеюсь, наш опыт вас вдохновит на поиски новых таких вот решений в области экологической ответственности. А я, в свою очередь, передаю для более детального исследования вопроса своему коллеге Адилю Шабден. Он является нашим инженером по охране окружающей среды компании RG Gold. Адиль, передаю слово вам. Спасибо.
Brandon, we can hear you.
Thank you. Adil will be having his presentation shortly during the phytocapture session, which will be after the opening remarks. So for the final opening remarks, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Vlastimil Semik, who's the representative of the United Nations Department of Global Communications and a dear friend to Narcos University and to the SKRI, and a real champion of the Sustainable Development Goals in Central Asia and more broadly the region. Mr. Samik, the floor is yours. Okay, Mr. Samik will be joining us shortly. He said that he is late for his presentation. So I will move on to the first session. And the first session will be on presenting the concept of phytocapture science and the innovation surrounding it. So to do that, I will be taking my hat off as moderator and give the first presentation on an overview of the phytocapture technology and how it was managed to be developed. Okay, so as I mentioned, my name is Brendan Dupree. I'm the director of the Sustainable Kazakhstan Research Institute here at Narcos University. The institute was established by me in 2019, and the purpose of the Sustainable Kazakhstan Research Institute is to be the bridge between academia and practice. And so we're an applied research institute that seeks to help solve challenges linked with the implementation of these Sustainable Development Goals, both in Kazakhstan and worldwide. And so we want to be this bridge between academia and practice. And we do a whole host of different applied research projects in many different sectors, but one that has gained traction is our work on nature-based solutions. And nature-based solutions seek to protect, manage, and restore natural ecosystems impacted by pollution, simultaneously benefiting people and nature. And so just to give you one example of that is how installing a wetland can help prevent from heavy rainstorm flooding. So vegetation can be used to provide natural solutions to some both industrial and also urban challenges. And we have been working in that sector for almost 5 years now, thanks to the generous support of the Tao Foundation. And the Tao Foundation is a branch or is the social corporate sustainability arm of Tao Engineering Firm, which is an environmental engineering firm that is from the Netherlands and has been implementing projects around the world for about 100 years. And our collaboration with them has actually gained international recognition as a low-cost nature-based solution to address dust and urban industrial sector pollution by vegetation dust capture. It was presented as a best practice within the UNECE Convention on Mine Tailing Safety and Industrial Accidents, and has also been covered widely in the international press and industry news magazines such as Yahoo Finance News, mining.com, and Forbes magazine. And one of those solutions that we developed, actually, I would call it more of a, instead of a solution, a mitigation tool. And it's something called phytocapture. And this has two applications, one in urban settings, like at Narcos University. As you can see, we have a digital twin of Narcos University that we developed. And during the campus redevelopment program, we modeled how the botanical garden set up under the campus redevelopment program could support dust suppression from the motor vehicles driving on Jandosova Street. Here you can see the model of that. And also it has application in the industrial sector. But rather than explaining it in detail to you, I would like to play a short 5-minute video on the concept of phytocapture. Give me 1 second to share my screen.
Have you ever been to a construction site and seen dust flying around in the air? Have you ever wondered, what is that cloud you see in urban cities during peak traffic hours? What you see is fine particulate matter called PM, which is tiny particles of organic chemicals, acids, metals, and dust emitted from fossil fuel burning vehicles and factories, construction and mine tailing sites. These particles can easily penetrate the human respiratory system, causing lung and cardiovascular diseases or exacerbating respiratory illnesses. By one estimate, 8.9 million deaths a year globally could be attributed to exposure to outdoor fine particulate matter. This problem exists not only in urban cities, but also in industrial sites like mine tailing sites. To tackle this pressing problem, the Sustainable Kazakhstan Research Institute has developed an innovative nature-based solution to deal with airborne dust and to help support the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals through innovative nature-based solutions. The technical solution is called phytocapture. This approach uses various vegetation types, such as trees and shrubs, to disperse and also capture particulate matter on the surface of this vegetation. Using advanced computer modeling, our international experts model plant surface atmosphere interactions concerning the outdoor environment with various types of pollution such as PM. Using the model, we support industry and local governments to examine the best location, design, and plant combination of the vegetated barrier that can be used to reduce particulate pollution and scientifically illustrate the improvement of air quality that will occur with such designs. Our research team has proven such a barrier can reduce PM from source pollution by over 35% and other emissions by over 70%, providing a direct and positive impact on human health. The Sustainable Kazakhstan Research Institute can not only model these designs, but also has an international team of experienced experts that can help support the technical process of planting the barrier. Our research team is at the service of industry, city governments, and other stakeholders around the world to provide world-class services to those in need. The SKRI providing technical solutions to some of the world's most pressing sustainability challenges.
Okay, and so now I would like to talk about why that is useful for the mining sector, because dust suppression is a major problem for the mining sector. So for every ton of ore extracted, meaning rocks extracted from the ground, sometimes only 1 gram of gold is able to be extracted from that. And so there is a huge byproduct that's developed with this spent rocks called tailings. And they put all of this into big piles, which contain some toxic compounds and can blow around in the air when the weather is poor. And so this proposes a real problem for the mine workers who work at the mine, but also for the villages that are directly adjacent to the mining companies. And so in order to deal with dust suppression, usually what companies do is they have a Bowser system, which is like a truck, which then drives around the roads and sprays chlorides, or they use a spray gun, which sprays chlorides onto areas which are dusty. And this is very expensive. So for the United States, for example, it costs $10,000 to $20,000 per kilometer and a half. And also it's something that you need to do biannually or annually. So it's not a long-term solution. And if you're not using water and you use chlorides, which are more effective for dust suppression, they can also leach out to the road surfaces. It's coercive and can also change the chemistry of nearby soil and waterways. And so a low-cost, nature-based solution that might not solve the problem, but help mitigate the impacts is very much necessary for mine companies. And this also helps mine companies comply with international as well as national regulations. So for example, in Kazakhstan, you have the subsoil and subsoil user code of the Republic of Kazakhstan, which says that 1% of their total budget needs to go for innovation and research. And they also have the Environmental Codex of the Republic of Kazakhstan, which pushes companies to develop the best available technologies. And finally, you have the sanitary zone requirements, which say that 40% of a subsoil user's total territory should be covered under vegetation. And so you can use a research budget from the subsoil users code to help cover your sanitary zone requirements and methodologically plant different designs of plants, trees, and shrubs that can scientifically illustrate dust suppression percentages that will be effective for dust suppression at mining territories and cover it under your research budget. So it can also save the companies money and help them comply with national and international regulation. So we've had several projects, one at Narcos University and with a few other mining companies, but our flagship 3-year project was with RG Gold. Here you can see some of the modeling of the different PM 2.5 particles. and how they're interacting with the phytovegetation barrier. Here's one of the tailings on the left-hand side picture where we planted vegetation, which Adil and Hamed will speak about after my presentation. And here you can see us with the Forestry Service tilling the field and tilling the area where we were planting the vegetation in one of the specific areas where we planted a phytocapture barrier. So as I mentioned, this is low cost. It's a long-term solution. Of course, there's issues related to management of the vegetation. So you need to ensure that it's regularly watered and taken care of in order for the trees and shrubs to be viable. But it can be a long-term solution. It aligns with both national and international regulations. It can reduce air pollution and subsequently water pollution. And I think this is one of the most important aspects here, is that it takes a very simple concept, which is planting trees and shrubs, and provide a scientific methodology on how to do that in order to maximize public health benefits. And so that's really the crux of what we do here in the innovation, is providing scientific research and methodology for something that companies would already do anyway, which is plant trees and shrubs in response to their sanitary zone requirements. And of course, it's also good for ESG and for consumer outreach. Just to mention, we also had another project sponsored by the Tao Foundation, which was to figure out also some ways to have nature-based solutions to water waste. And we had two specific field visits where we collected data. One was from RG Gold site, Radionik mine, and also Aktuz in Kyrgyzstan. We developed a global review of nature-based solutions for water waste, including wet covers, nature-based solutions to increase pH, to remove heavy metal contamination in waterways through natural filters, and also phytostabilization, phytoextraction. This is all publicly available, and you can read this online. I'd be happy to share it after the presentation if it's interesting for any of the parties who are currently listening to this presentation. So one commercial design we developed was a reactive mat for bioabsorption of heavy metals in waterways. So this is actually something that was done in Belgium, in the Netherlands by Tao engineering firm. But we also developed a design for that, for heavy metal contamination in the mining sector, in waterways, and presented that and promoted it here to try to receive investment from interested partners, but still are yet to commercialize it. And also how we can have phyto extraction by putting, for example, trees in root sleeves with a small tube there that you can see, which helps absorb contamination in soils and to stabilize them in the roots of the trees. But then, of course, at some point, the trees need to be disposed of because the trees themselves then absorb the toxicity. So in short, what I'd like to say is that nature-based solutions are important to have. It's important to have time and space for them to be implemented. Central Asia being a huge region, especially Kazakhstan, having many of these mining sites in steppe areas or areas that aren't heavily urbanized like in Europe, allow for these types of solutions to be deployed. So it's a very good place to pilot them. And also they can provide low-cost support for the prevention, mitigation, and restoration of contaminated areas. And so thank you very much. That's my presentation. And now I will give the floor to Adil, who will talk about specifically what was done at RG Gold mine site. Adil, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Would you please open the presentation, or I will do it myself?
You can share it yourself if it's
Okay.
no problem.
Okay. Да. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can, but you might want to full screen it.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see it. It's just not in full screen. It's you can see the. Нет, это понятно. Вот она открыта. Да, я знаю. I mean, you can just leave it like that if you want. It's also not a problem. We can see it.
What about now?
It's full screen. Good.
Full screen?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Let's start. Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Хотел бы представиться. Меня зовут Адиль. Я являюсь инженером по охране окружающей среды, ТО RG Gold. Сегодня я хотел бы представить результаты нашего научно-исследовательского проекта, его практическую часть, которую мы реализуем совместно с университетом Нархоз. Проект направлен на снижение негативного воздействия. Секунду. Can you see it? Проект направлен на снижение негативного воздействия на окружающую среду путем создания фитобарьеров. Это специальные защитные зеленые полосы, высаживаемые вдоль границ источников загрязняющих веществ. И основная цель этой работы – уменьшить распространение пылевых выбросов и обеспечить долгосрочное улучшение экологической ситуации на прилегающей территории. Необходимость проекта обусловлена тем, что пылевое загрязнение является одним из наиболее острых, как вы уже до этого описали, экологических вызовов в горнодобывающей промышленности. Пыль, образующаяся при дроблении, при транспортировке и складировании рудных материалов, способна распространяться на очень большие расстояния и негативно влиять на качество воздуха, а также состояние почв. Одним из эффективных и природных устойчивых решений в этой сфере является внедрение фитобарьеров, которые способны задерживать и осаждать пылевые частицы на листьях и ветвях, создавая естественный фильтр, производя ранее описанный вами процесс фитозахвата. Работа над проектом началась с комплексного сбора исходных данных, то есть нами была проведена инвентаризация всех источников пылевых выбросов на производственном участке, были определены зоны наибольшего образования пыли, изучена роза ветров и направление ветрового переноса. Но на основании этих данных были составлены картографические схемы, что позволило нам построить модель распространения загрязняющих веществ и определить территории повышенного воздействия, чтобы работать далее с ними. Следующим ключевым этапом стали полевые работы, то есть именно та практическая деятельность, о которой я буду рассказывать, и проведение почвенных исследований. То есть совместно с учеными университета Нархоз и Казахского научно-исследовательского института лесного хозяйства мы выполнили отбор и лабораторный анализ почвенных проб. Почвенные исследования были произведены непосредственно на заранее подобранных потенциальных участках высадки зеленых насаждений. Это позволило нам выделить участки, обладающие наилучшими условиями для приживаемости зеленых насаждений, а также определить зоны, где создание фитобарьеров обеспечит нам максимальный именно экологический эффект. Далее хотелось бы сказать то, что была проведена оценка естественного растительного разнообразия, что помогло нам определить наиболее адаптивные и устойчивые виды зеленых насаждений, определить за счет биоиндикации, где нам стоит и где не стоит высаживать деревья. И на основе результатов исследований были выбраны участки для посадки. При выборе мы учитывали близость к источникам загрязнения, соответствие направлениям ветров и характеристики почвенного слоя. Таким образом, будущие фитобарьерные зоны были сформированы не как обычные посадки, а как функциональные экологические барьеры. Практическая же реализация у нас началась в 2024 году, то есть если с 2023 года мы начали подготовку ко всей работе, в 2024 году началась практическая работа, и за этот период нами выполнена масштабная работа по посадке зеленых насаждений на общей площади 29,96 гектаров, что стало по-настоящему важным шагом для создания целостной защитной системы. И всего за время реализации, кстати, здесь на этом слайде вы можете ознакомиться с количеством высаженных зеленых насаждений за 2024 год. И за все время реализации проекта было высажено 119 936 саженцев и сеянцев, включающих как лиственные, так и хвойные породы. То есть мы использовали виды растений, наиболее устойчивые к климатическим условиям региона и способные эффективно задерживать полевые частицы. В их числе, если останавливаться по каждому виду, только тополя было высажено 2200 единиц, вяза обыкновенного было высажено 3334 единицы, акации желтой было высажено 2300 единиц, а сосны же обыкновенные мы высадили просто колоссальное количество, это 100 800 единиц. И такая комбинация видов позволяет сформировать такую многоуровневую аналитически сравнительную защитную структуру. То есть лиственные растения обеспечивают плотно коронированный верхний ярус, а хвойные же растения – круглогодичную пылеудерживающую способность. Далее. Для обеспечения высокой приживаемости, как уже были выданы рекомендации Брэндоном, была организована система ухода за посадками, включающая регулярный полив, мониторинг состояния растений. То есть мы, находясь on-site, то есть на участке производственном, вот сейчас я, например, веду на мою презентацию индивидуально отсюда, с нашего участка, постоянно выезжаем на участки посадки, производим мониторинг, оценку того, как вообще поживает наше зеленое насаждение, а также мониторинг состояния растений и проведение профилактических мероприятий. То есть если зеленое насаждение требует какого-либо ухода, этот уход нами предоставляется. На сегодняшний день большинство посадок демонстрируют хорошие показатели адаптации, приживаемости, что в иной раз подтверждает корректность выбранных подходов. И с учетом того, что деревья находятся еще в стадии активного роста, мы ожидаем, что наш проект даст очень большой экологический эффект и будет улучшаться и достигнет максимума в ближайшие годы. И наш проект, он имеет не только значимую практическую, но и значимую научную ценность. Он демонстрирует, что сочетание научного подхода и производственного опыта позволяет внедрять экологические решения, которые работают эффективно и в долгосрочной перспективе. В завершение же хочу сказать, что проект фитобарьера является примером успешного взаимодействия промышленного предприятия и научного сообщества, как университет Нархоз, Институт устойчивого развития, также с нами работавший Казахстанский национальный исследовательский институт лесного хозяйства. Он подтверждает, что устойчивое развитие возможно только при комплексном подходе и интеграции природных технологий в производственные процессы. На этом моя презентация подходит к концу. Всем спасибо. Благодарю.
Thank you, Adil. That was a very detailed and interesting. Well, sorry, maybe I have to switch. Thank you, Adil. That was a very detailed and interesting presentation, and it's been really a pleasure to work with you and the team over the course of the past 3 years. So now I would like to give the floor to Hamed Sharifi, who is the expert modeler who ran the different models for us to use for the phytocapture barrier. And he can speak more about the science and the software behind it. So Mr. Sharifi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So thank you. Is it full screen? Can you hear me?
Now it's full screen. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. The sound is good.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining. My name is Hamid Sharifi from SKRI at Northwest University. Today, I would like to talk about our work on dust emission modeling over RGMine using EnviMed software. The short idea behind this talk is a smart nature-based dust defense strategy for a large mining operation. So, in simple words, how we can use trees, grass, and good design to help mine behave in a more sustainable way. I will start with a big picture. Dust emissions are a major environmental issue in many industrial activities, including the mining sector. Short-term measures like water spraying can help for a few hours, but they don't give a long-term solution. So the key question for the company is, can we design green barrier that really capture dust? The main solution is a smart nature-based phytocapture barrier. The basic idea is to use trees and grass as a living filter that slows the wind down and traps dust. In this concept, the barrier acts like a dense green wall that is fully engineered based on nature. It is designed to protect ecological and human health, and it represents a long-term environmental investment for the company, not just a quick fix. To design this kind of barrier, we need more than experience alone. So we use EnviMed software as our digital lab and decision tool. It allows us to test different layout on the computer before anything is planted in the field. I briefly described EnviMed software. It is a state-of-the-art microclimate simulation. We use it as an advanced software that can test green barrier design before field implementation. It can consider several climate variables at the same time. With this software, we can estimate how much dust the barrier can capture. In the first step, the theoretical design, so we selected 3 strategic locations around the mine based on earlier work and RGMine company's data. For each location, we built EnviMed models and we ran the simulation on high-performance computers. The goal at this stage was to understand where barrier could be most effective before we think about field limitation. Here I simply show the 3 locations on the map and the design that we used in EnviMed software. We used 3 rows of poplar trees or hedges with 3 meters spacing between each other's 9 meter width. In this stage, we can see how dust behaves along these areas. We built 9 different scenarios for 3 locations. The main message from all these tests is a high-density green barrier can act as a regional protective shield against dust. So from the modeling point of view, dense and carefully designed planting obviously makes sense. So the next step is to optimize our data into our field by making the green barrier wider, denser, and mixing species like acacia, elm, ash, and poplar. We capture much more dust than simple ones. In other words, smarter design means cleaner air. Anyway, in the field, the final planting layout had to be adapted to existing system, soil condition, nursery stock, and engineering limitation. So with the help of RGMine company, we moved from simulation result to building a system of high-density green barrier. Now, I start with location 1. Here we have a large Scott pine forest, about 20 hectares, and roughly 100,000 trees around 1.7 kilometers downwind of the tailing. The design is a simple row-based layout, 0.5 by 4 meters, with a grass cover. NVMe software showed about 11.5% reduction in dust in this area. I also remind that this area is limited by soil condition and the tailing expansion. One important point about location 1, because the pine belt is placed along the future expansion direction of the tailing, its role will grow over the time. As the dump gradually expands toward the planting area, the barrier is expected to capture an increasing share of the dust from the expanded tailing. So location 1 is not only a current protective phytocapture barrier, it is also designed as a forward-looking long-term investment. For location 2, which is closer to the tailing, this belt has about 11,000 mixed trees in a 15 meters width and 2.6 kilometers in length. The design uses a 1 by 3 meters spacing with a sequence of acacia, ash, poplar, elm, and ash covered with grass. This design achieves around 35% reduction. For location 3, we have about 7,000 mixed trees arranged in 4 blocks with a sequence of acacia, ash, poplar, poplar, ash, acacia. The spacing is 1.5 by 4 meters and the width of the barrier is about 24 meters. This layout shows a strong reduction, about 30%. I briefly summarize the role of each location. Location 1 is a large-scale planting program that acts as a regional protective shield and represent a long-term environmental investment by the company. Location 2 work as an ultra-dense green wall very close to the source, and location 3 is the barrier designed for high dust capture efficiency. The main message is together they form a system of high-density green barrier that continuously protect nearby community and improve the company's long-term environmental profile. At the end, let me briefly summarize our work. The environment simulation show up to about 35% reduction in dust concentration. We also see that the dust is trapped in lower atmospheric layer and near the ground. Also, high density mixed trees barrier obviously are more effective than simple planting. Beyond that, green barrier help stabilize soil, reduce wind erosion, support long-term ecological rehabilitation, improve companies' environmental image. To put it briefly, we are using ecological knowledge to design fully engineered, nature-based solution with broad environmental benefits. Finally, I would like to thank you all for your attention. Also, I would like to thank RG Mine Company for their support and providing the data for this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hamed. Very interesting, and your work is always interesting to learn about, and the results were something that we were quite interested to learn about and to see. So thank you for your help and your work. And now we're going to move on to session 2, which is education, collaboration, and commercialization. And we're very happy to have here with us today, and honored to have him with us, Dr. Endrit Koromidha, who is Associate Professor in Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Birmingham Business School, the University of Birmingham. Endrit, thank you so much for your partnership and collaboration, and we look forward to hearing some words that you can share with us about commercialization and your work at Birmingham University. The floor is yours. We can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Brendan. I hope you can see it.
Yeah, just maybe if you can make it on full, yeah, there you go, full screen.
Right. Thank you, Brendan. Always a pleasure working with you, and thank you for inviting me. I will share some ideas based on our work and some ideas for future research and collaborations. So this collaboration builds on a couple of British Council and then our university-funded projects, but mainly our initiative to work together. So together with Brendan, colleagues, Julia as well, we created the Knowledge Impact Hub for Sustainable Solutions. And the idea is to bring together research, university engagement, and industry partners to work together. So this initiative builds on the UK model of knowledge transfer partnerships. That is a scheme. Sorry. Zoom kicked me out. Is still there?
You're here. We just don't see your presentation. You have to probably click on it.
Yeah. We're here, right? Hello?
Yes, but go ahead.
Hear you loud and clear.
So, knowledge transfer partnership KTPs are funded by Innovate UK. And the idea for them to happen, they require a company, a university, and an associate, someone who works on a specific project. They have been very successful in the UK, creating over 300 jobs each year, and only in 2025, over 800 businesses have been impacted by it. Knowledge bases have been created and graduates have been involved. So this model has been successful in the UK, and through our hub in Kazakhstan, we're planning or we're working to replicate that. So now, what is the result and how it has been manifested at the University of Birmingham? I will only share some examples because there are many. From robotics, where company like KUKA Robotics develop state-of-the-art vision-guided robotic applications. Railway innovation, we have one of the biggest railway innovation centers at the University of Birmingham, and we work with companies like Aptus, fully approved solution to uneven railway tracks. To medical research, so protein therapeutics with Cobra Biologics. So broad range of research across many departments, working together with companies and helping them to solve their problems, their solutions, but also coming up with commercializing ideas and business opportunities. So just diving a bit more into one of the examples, so improving and monitoring UK rivers. UK rivers, some of them continue to be polluted currently, mainly from agriculture, untreated sewage, urban transport, but UK has a legacy of mines as well, drainage from abandoned metal mines, industrial chemicals and pollutions. So the issue is there. So how to make waters cleaner, but also how to monitor and report to comply with sustainability requirements. So the solution to that was developing a system that was data-driven, working with AI as well to monitor ammonia pollution levels, so planting the sensors, but also modeling it in a way that it is reported correctly. It saves cost by 65%, so this is beneficial, but also it's easy to scale, so future growth is possible. So this is just one of the examples where Proteus, this company, developed optical monitoring platforms, machine learning to collect these samples and also help the company be more efficient, but also more compliant. How we do that at the University of Birmingham? At the university, we have because the university in the UK is a charity, so it's a non-profit organization. Most universities are. However, in order to engage with commercial partners or to commercialize research, we have an entity called UOB Enterprise that is a company created by and for the university. So their job is to commercialize research. They help startups, mainly from research staff, but also from graduates. We have another unit for that, B Enterprising. So UOB Enterprise has helped 9 new ventures emerging from university research, going through many investment rounds, and there is record demand to commercialize research and innovations now. So they support business incubation. They have research facilities that together with researchers and the university, different departments and faculties, they connect industry partners and benefiting from the KTP Knowledge Transfer Partnership Scheme, Innovate UK, that is similar to the kind of collaboration and the legal framework you have in Kazakhstan for asking mining industries to contribute to research, and that research is beneficial. So a similar model, KTP is a similar model in the UK. So UOB Enterprise helps with IP and licensing, because IP is a bit delicate. Some of the research is done in the university, but then is developed further by companies, so they help with that. And they also help academics to talk to industry partners and work with them. However, academics like me are free to do so independently as well, and that has happened too. Since today's presentations are focused around mining industries, I wanted to give a very brief overview of what the University of Birmingham does in that area. As you know, in the UK, the mines have been deployed a long time ago, but research continues. And research now at the University of Birmingham under the School of Metallurgy and Materials is about refinement of ore and minerals after they are extracted. So there's a lot of research being done in that space. So how we can be more efficient when we process the minerals after being extracted. We have advanced facilities and laboratories for that, and over 100 active research grants and projects from UK and European Union funders. Of course, my colleagues at the School of Metallurgy and Materials are open to work with Narcos University, Sustainable Kazakhstan Research Institute, and mining companies in Kazakhstan, researching, applying some of their knowledge, and having a fruitful collaboration. Although I don't work in this school, I'm part of the business school, so I can help as a facilitator when an opportunity arises. So in addition to that, something else I am involved with outside the university, or using part of my research that I thought would be interesting to mention, is emerging technologies like mixed reality, extended reality, for remote assistance and industrial training. We had a discussion with Brandon, so I have been involved with some colleagues from Open University and TNU using some of my research on entrepreneurial ecosystems. We developed an open source solution for augmented reality training and remote assistance, and we are trying to commercialize it. The examples you see in the images are when we work with Altec via the Wicked ECS company I'm involved with. We work with Altec to develop a pilot for training astronauts. So the use cases are there, and they can be adapted to offer remote assistance, holographic assistance with mixed reality, augmented reality, digital twin in hostile environments where bringing in an expert physically is difficult. So these technologies are helping in that direction, and that is another area I'm working on. This is a very short and general overview. So of course, I'm happy to stay in touch. So for anything related to commercialization, innovation, and international collaborations, we continue to work together with Brandon, the hub. So join the Knowledge Impact Hub as well, and do stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Endrit. Just a question: are you available till the end of this session? Or should we have questions for you now?
I will be available, yes.
Okay.
Of this session, yes.
Okay, thank you. And I think the VR component, the last slide you had, is very interesting because there's a lot of industrial processes linked with mining, which is quite dangerous. So it's something that could definitely be applied in the industry and something we should look into. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you.
Now we will hand the floor over to Janar. And we're very honored to have her here because she is the Vice President for Science Commercialization for Narcos University. She's involved in all of our commercial projects and working with these research funds that we receive from different companies. So we're very happy to have her here, and we look forward to her presentation. So thank you, Janar, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Уважаемые коллеги, добрый день, рада всех приветствовать. Brandon, is it okay if I will continue my speech in Russian? Я бы хотела продолжить, начать свою презентацию и в целом рассказать про то, как университеты продвигают исследования, обучение металлургического комплекса и устойчивого развития горнодобывающего сектора. Сейчас можете ли вы видеть мои слайды? Видно слайды, да?
Да, видно.
Хорошо, спасибо большое. В целом я бы хотела начать с того, что на сегодняшний день университеты являются центрами инноваций, генерации новых знаний, и основная функция университетов – это не только обучение, подготовка кадров, да, но и функция по проведению научных исследований. Нередко университеты являются центрами инноваций, да, которые продвигают какие-либо новые технологии, которые полезны для общества, которые полезны для страны, для мира, да, по различным направлениям. И, конечно же, каждый университет стремится к тому, чтобы приносить эту самую пользу и внедрять инновации в производство, в различные отрасли экономики. И, конечно же, здесь также я хотела бы отметить, что для университетов связь с индустрией является одной из самых ключевых. Это выражается даже в их аккредитации и рейтингах. Да? Например, рейтинг Times Higher Education, к которому стремятся, да, лучшие университеты мира, который является показателем, в нем именно вот связи с индустрией уделяется 4% от 100%. То есть сюда входит и подготовка кадров, и проведение исследований, трудоустраиваемость выпускников, да, и 4% – это значимая доля по оценке того, как в целом университет вносит пользу для развития общества. И здесь как раз-таки хотелось бы отметить, что для того, чтобы продвигать свои позиции, университет всегда должен смотреть в сторону рынка, смотреть в сторону исследований и поддерживать в целом проведение научных работ своих преподавателей. Да? В эти проекты должны быть вовлечены не только преподаватели, но и также обучающиеся, также коллеги из индустрии, да, то есть проекты должны быть междисциплинарны, должны охватывать различных стейкхолдеров, и все это в конечном итоге должно приводить к тому, чтобы развивать ту или иную отрасль. И, соответственно, вузы должны стремиться к тому, чтобы быть полезными для рынка, для индустрии. И хотелось бы также отметить, в чем это выражается. То есть как университеты помогают, поддерживают науку и как они продвигают науку, которая является полезной для общества, для государства, для разных отраслей экономики. То есть на сегодняшний день в целом в университете Нархоз реализуется 35 проектов от Министерства науки и высшего образования. То есть это грантовые проекты, программно-целевые проекты. То есть грантовые проекты – это те, которые по приоритетным направлениям развития науки наши ученые реализуют по заказу Министерства науки и высшего образования. Это проекты в области самые разные, которые есть у нас в университете. Это и по экономике, по финансам, это и по экологии, устойчивому развитию, по цифровым технологиям, и также по исследованию государственной политики и так далее. И также есть один проект коммерциализации, и мы гордимся тем, что на сегодняшний день мы тесно сотрудничаем с индустрией и имеем проекты по заказу недропользователей. Это тоже очень хорошо отражается на наших показателях и в аккредитациях, и по нашим рейтингам, да, поскольку мы выполняем данные требования, которые перед нами ставят различные аккредитационные агентства и рейтинговые агентства. И это очень хорошая функция в целом, потому чтобы выполнять эту функцию по развитию науки. Также хотела бы подчеркнуть, что по заказу недропользователей проекты имеют свою особую специфику для университета, являются особым приоритетом для нас. Как известно, по закону в области как раз-таки недропользования, кодекса недропользования, закреплена норма о том, что необходимо отчислять 1% на неокр, и данные 1% горнодобывающие компании, да, могут отчислять именно на научные исследования и в аккредитированные организации. Вот, мы, как университет Нархоз, конечно же, имеем научную аккредитацию, и мы всегда рады предложить недропользователям, потенциальным заказчикам широкий спектр услуг, которые у нас есть. И институт SKRI, который возглавляет Брэндон Дюпре, является одним из лидеров, скажем так, по данному направлению и реализует проекты, ряд проектов по устойчивому развитию и биоразнообразию, связанные вот с один проект, сейчас вот презентовали, да, по фитозахвату, и имеется широкий спектр экспертизы, который вот как раз-таки позволяет нам проводить и реализовывать успешные проекты. И хотела бы привести примеры этих проектов, то есть проекты, которые мы реализуем. Сейчас следующий слайд. То есть опыт реализации проектов НИОКР у нас отличается тем, что у нас идет полное соответствие работ требованиям законодательства Казахстана. То есть мы проводим все необходимые процедуры, государственную регистрацию проектов с предоставлением всех необходимых заказчику проектов, документов. И направления, по которым у нас реализуются проекты, они достаточно обширные. То есть среди них выделяется разработка и внедрение элементов цифрового месторождения. Новое такое вот направление, которое является актуальным для всех предприятий, это автоматизация и роботизация, разработка инновационных технологий, изготовление, испытания опытных образцов и полезных моделей. Разработка научной базы и методологий для внедрения технологий по утилизации отходов на производстве на основе природоориентированных решений, да, то есть так называемые nature-based solutions. Также по ESG, по интеграции и внедрению современных телекоммуникационных систем, по адаптации современных международных достижений, а также по другим направлениям научно-исследовательской работы, которые являются интересными и приоритетными для недропользователей. Также здесь хочется отметить, что университет имеет широкий портфель международных партнеров, экспертная база, да, очень обширная, которая позволяет привлекать к реализации проектов экспертов по всему миру. И один из успешных кейсов как раз-таки вот то, что нам сейчас продемонстрировал господин Брэндон, да, является коллаборация с ведущими центрами, которые расположены по всему миру. Также важно отметить прикладной характер НИОКР, то есть решение конкретных задач, которые стоят перед недропользователем. То есть все проекты у нас имеют практический интерес для недропользователя. И наличие развитой инфраструктуры, то есть это наши все подписки на международные базы, которые университет обеспечивает, кампус, лаборатории, библиотека, это все позволяет нам усиливать наши исследования и делать их максимально полезными для нашего заказчика. Также хотела привести примеры очень кратко, да, то есть портфель проектов, которые находятся у нас на сегодняшний день на этапе завершения, реализации. Часть проектов уже завершена. Вот проекты на 2023 год. Видим, что здесь есть проекты по фитозахвату, по автоматизации систем бюджетирования, HR-планирования, также по экономической оценке, да, по применению различных технологий, потому что в ДНК нашего университета красной линией проходит именно экономическая составляющая. Да? У нас нархоз исторически является очень сильным в экономике, в научной мысли в экономике. 2024 год также реализован ряд проектов, которые вот включают в себя также автоматизации, внедрение различных систем, автоматизации прогнозирования закупочных цен. Также есть проекты, которые лежат в плоскости права, потому что у нас есть также сильная школа права и госуправление, которое реализует данные проекты. И на текущий год у нас также есть различные проектные предложения, которые находятся на этапе и обсуждения, и контрактования, и на этапе планирования. В целом это вот весь перечень проектов, и в целом хотел бы завершить свою речь на том, что развитие сотрудничества между университетами и индустрией является важным аспектом, да, для того, чтобы максимально получить пользу для всех сторон. От этого получают выгоду и университеты, да, потому что они продвигают свою, развивают свой научный потенциал, приносят пользу обществу, какому-то определенному направлению рынка. Да. И это очень важно для индустрии, для заказчиков, поскольку они могут получить самые последние передовые исследования и их результаты внедрить у себя на производстве и таким образом сделать значительный шаг в развитии своего предприятия. И для государства это очень важно, поскольку происходит развитие коллабораций, которое позволяет развивать оба направления экономики, да, то есть это и образование, и индустрия. Вот поэтому это механизм, который на сегодняшний день является очень значимым, и призываем вас для дальнейшего сотрудничества. Надеюсь, что впереди у нас много различных новых интересных проектов, уважаемые коллеги. Спасибо большое, да, на этом я хотела свою речь завершить. Спасибо за приглашение.
Thank you very much, Janar. I know you have a huge workload on your shoulders with all the things that you're tasked with doing for research and development for Narhos University. So thank you for your time. I wanted to ask a common thread to you and to Endrit, because I know Endrit has a plane to catch soon. So I'm just going to have one question that kind of applies for both of you. And I think actually not Narhos University, but Kazakhstan in general has kind of a unique way of dealing with academic research, which is making a requirement that the companies spend money on academic research. So as you know, usually there's a barrier between academia and practice. And part of that is that there's no money from companies to support academia. So this legislative policy of Kazakhstan, I think, provides a very interesting avenue to bridge the academic side with the commercialization side. But this question goes to both of you. What are the most common barriers that prevent strong university research from reaching the market, in both of your opinions, from your experience? So I think maybe Janar can go first, ladies first, and then we can go to Endrit.
Thank you so much for your question. It's a very interesting question indeed. So I think that nowadays governmental bodies do a big really work for make this bridge to connect connect universities and connect industry. And one of the mechanisms now is format of hackathons. This year we try to use also this format of interaction. It is when also the problem is when we do not exactly know what requires from the industry. What is the request? What is the request in technology? And in this kind of event, there is the event when all stakeholders gather together, and people from industry talk about their problems in the industry from their companies. And at this event, at the same time, people from research area, people from institutes, from research centers, from universities can answer to these questions and offer a project. So there is a space when quick request and quick decision from scientists, and it is the beginning of projects. So we use this year. We also use this this format of event, and it starts I think around 10 projects. Yes, from this event we use this format of event in April. I think in April this spring. Also, it is it is very popular event from the Ministry of Science and Higher Education, and we participate on each this hackathon from our different potential donors of projects. And I think that we should do conferences, we should do events to building a dialogue between these stakeholders. And when we speak with stakeholders, we can solve this problem, I think, and make new bridges. And also in Kazakhstan, it is a very interesting experience that all our mining companies have to spend 1% to R&D. And so this is this mechanism make an opportunity to collaborate and to solve the problems of industry through the collaboration with research institutes. And I think that via dialogue we have new possibilities to make really very beneficial projects.
Thank you very much. Hendrik, any comments on that? And then we'll move to the next session afterwards.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. And very good comments. I agree with Zonar. We use hackathons as well. I will summarize. You ask about the barriers. First, we need to address a real problem. So if industry and university work together to address a real problem, it's easier to collaborate. Second, it needs funding. In case of Kazakhstan, you have an easier mechanism, and in the UK it's also possible. Universities on the other hand, can play a great role as a coordinating partner, and that is how KTPs are structured. So university coordinates the relationship between the company and the researcher, an associate, but the university also needs to know when to step back and allow the company and the researcher or associate to work together without imposing the university's bureaucracy. So I think with these three things, and I have seen it, you do it very well at Narhos, we do it at University of Birmingham, so we have experience and we have the willingness to, most importantly, to work together locally and internationally. I think it is possible to do a lot. So the barriers are not that significant. So we can achieve a lot of things. Thanks.
Mute. Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you for your time. I know you both have to leave, Endrit for a flight and Janar for another event. So it's a pleasure seeing you here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And look forward to the future collaboration. Now we can move on to the next session, which is global experience and practical lessons. I think this will be a very, very interesting part of the discussion because both Dora and Jasper have extremely interesting examples to share with us. So we'll give the floor to Dr. Dora Almasi first, and after her presentation to Jasper Wiseman. Dora, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brandon. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm sharing my presentation. Can you confirm that whether you can see it? I think maybe not yet. Okay.
Yes, we can see it's
Working
full
now.
screen
Great.
now. Thank you.
Great. So today I'm going to talk about lessons that we have learned about implementation approaches and benefits of nature-based solutions across the globe. I have been working on nature-based solutions and assessment of nature-based solutions for almost 10 years now. So these experiences will be based on several projects that we have been implementing in the past years. One is the Urban Nature Atlas, which is a collection of over 105,000 urban and peri-urban nature-based solutions now. This initiative, this project has originally been developed as part of a European-funded Horizon Europe project, but then it grew into a bigger initiative. We have several phases of development. We had the original database created in 2017. Then we had a global extension and an Asian extension, when we also had the opportunity to include the phytocapture project that Brendan has presented earlier. And then most recently, we have been working on including nature-based solutions from functional urban areas to understand the benefits of nature-based solutions at the landscape scale. The other projects that I will be using today as a basis for presenting our experience with nature-based solutions will be a recently developed publication with the UNEP Copenhagen Climate Center, where we have mapped different nature-based solutions, different type of nature-based solutions, to understand the different kind of various benefits they can provide, and to understand how these benefits could be utilized to develop financially viable, sustainable nature-based solution projects. Before I move to the implementation approaches and benefits that I will be talking about, I just would like to give a definition. We have been talking about nature-based solutions, mentioning it several times, but I think it's important to note that basically NbS is a very broad umbrella term for different kind of ecosystem-related management approaches. So when we mention green infrastructure, blue infrastructure, ecosystem-based management, integrated water resource management, even nature protection and nature restoration, we consider this as part of the NbS approach. And there is a formal definition that was adopted by the 5th session of the UNEA in 2022, which is basically saying that NbS are different actions that protect, conserve, and restore ecosystems. And NbS have to provide multiple benefits while addressing multiple different challenges. So what does it mean, first of all, that they address multiple challenges? Basically, NbS have the potential to multi-serve problems at the same time. And then in this way, they can address social, economic, and environmental challenges simultaneously, basically. So just to give a very basic example, if you think of an urban square, this is what you can see on the upper part of the slide. It's basically used for traffic management and maybe as a meeting point, but even as a meeting point, it's not a very nice area. But once you transform this site into a small mini urban forest, what happens is that suddenly this square becomes an opportunity to address heat stress, because planting trees will reduce the heat that the area is facing. It can decrease air pollution and increase air quality. It can help with the flash floods when a lot of water suddenly falls as a high amount of rain. It can absorb water. It can create mini habitats and provide some opportunities for biodiversity. And then it can help with offering recreation opportunities for people or providing opportunities for social interaction. So you see that this is the way how NbS is basically multi-solving problems, in this case, urban problems, that they function, they provide different ecosystem services, basically. And this is not only a concept, this is not only a definition, because when we analyzed the cases that we have collected in the Urban Nature Atlas, we have found that a general NbS project is addressing 4 to 6 challenges at an average, meaning that usually when a project is created, they are able to not only create a green space or restore a habitat, but also they will have health benefits, they will have some benefits for climate action, or even for environmental quality. Just as we heard it in the case of the phytocapture project, it's decreasing air pollution, it's providing habitats, it is also helping with health improvements. So this is the kind of way that that projects are working, NbS projects are working and addressing problems. And then this is just to show you that we have found that almost 30% of the projects are not simply creating green spaces, but they are also restoring previously degraded habitats or conserving existing ones. And also, when it comes to regeneration of urban or peri-urban environments, we also see that 6-7% of the projects are working on converting former industrial areas. So NbS are also very efficient for doing that. The second aspect, and this is leading to my first main discussion point, is about what kind of implementation approaches we can find for nature-based solutions, is that it's really important to consider and understand that the main feature of nature-based solutions, that they are using the functions and the services of different terrestrial, freshwater, coastal, and marine ecosystems to create solutions. So they are not aiming to alter them. They are aiming to work with nature and use nature as a solution, as an inspiration, but in accordance with the principles of and the characteristics of those ecosystems. And then in this way, when we look at a certain area, we can find that different types of solutions can be used and utilized for addressing different problems. So in an urban or a peri-urban area, nature-based solutions can include urban forests, green belts, green corridors, but also green roofs, urban parks, and also river protection and coastal protection and restoration. So main implementation approaches and how we can work with nature. So obviously the ideal is that we have to protect existing nature. So if we still have the original nature there, we do want to protect it and keep it. But in many cases, the nature is already altered by human activities. So in these cases, we are aiming for managing and conserving the remaining nature in ecosystem-based approaches or with ecosystem-based approaches. In many cases, the nature has already disappeared. Then nature-based solutions can help restore them. And sometimes in dense urban areas, we can create new urban nature. So for example, what you see here on the map, this is a map of a coastal city. And then on the up part in the corner, that area is still a protected existing urban forest area. But then there is a larger forest area which is actively being managed and conserved. So here nature-based solutions can ideally help to make sure that these areas are as healthy as possible. And then the city identified streams, small streams, rivers, which should be restored or could be restored for a better flood protection or better nature integration. And then also they decided to create a new habitat here on the left side. So basically, in the same areas, we can work with different implementation approaches to integrate nature. So I want to show you a few examples how this happens in practice. This is a case from central Arkansas, where the local or the regional water utility company decided to start purchasing forest areas, acquire forest areas to ensure the protection of the watershed. And they also use other measures, so they work together with the landowners to help them conserve the forest areas. And also they introduced sustainable forest management practices in their existing forest land areas, and they started to use native species to restore non-forested areas. This project, by the way, was financed from a sustainability bond, which gives an extra interesting aspect of this project, I believe. But you can see that the initial progress, this was, I think, after the first year of implementation, they already purchased a few areas from the bond that they received as an income. And they also started to work with the local forest owners to improve their practices. And then why this is important? Because once you improve the quality of that forest, you restore some of the areas where native species were missing, or you just ensure that no more forest is being cut, then it is going to increase the healthiness of the rivers that are feeding the lake in the area. So the water provision will become more easy, more sustainable, more efficient and also more reliable. Okay, so this is an example of what when you are using nature-based solutions for conservation. But then in some cases, the nature is already destroyed. And you can see here another example. This is a wetland in Staten Island, New York. And you can see that in 2016, the area was very much destroyed or degraded. And with restoring the water flow and planting some native vegetation, they could improve the water filtration, they could enhance the habitat, and as a result, they could provide flood management solution, but also as a functional green space for the public. And you can see what difference it makes just in 3 years. Basically, the restoration measures already show the impacts in a very short period of time. Sometimes you work with nature on degraded areas which requires rehabilitation. This project is from Germany, from Wuppertal, and they had a former mine and landfill site. First it was a mine and then it became a landfill. And they decided that they will seal the hazardous substances in order to protect groundwater. And then once this happened, they just let nature take over. Of course, they monitored it and they were very strictly and closely monitoring what's happening in the area. But they let the natural vegetation and the natural habitats to take over the area. And in a couple of years, they were able to create habitat, provide a habitat for biodiversity, and also provide recreational opportunities again for the public who was living around. Sometimes restoration or nature-based solution integration is not that spectacular or not that intrusive, I would say, or not that it's not such a big change. What you see here is a restoration of an 8-kilometer section of the river in Munich, Germany. So the river was there, it was part of the city, as you can see it here, but it was flowing in a canal. And this canal was restricted the natural flow, so it was restricted what kind of habitats can grow, it was increasing sediment, and also it provided a flood risk. So the city decided to renaturalize the river and provided an additional space for the river to flow. And this means that they created an ecologically more friendly or more sustainable area with additional spaces for people to go out and walk around the river or use it as bathing spaces, for example. So you see that the difference is not that big, but in terms of the environmental and the social benefits, it was considerable. And a last example of what restoration of nature can mean, this is an example from Korea, from Seoul, where they had a highway, an elevated highway above a local stream. And in 2000, they decided that they will reopen the river, they will destroy the highway, and they will restore the stream. And a lot of analysis has been made on this site, since we know that this has considerably increased the local climate conditions and the air quality. It provided new additional public spaces and improved the livability. But what is also really interesting is that it attracted businesses. And in the moment that businesses understood that this area is going to be frequented by tourists and it is going to be frequented by the locals, they started to donate money and funding for additional improvements in the area. So at the end, it also increased property prices and it provided different additional economic benefits for the city. So as I mentioned, nature-based solution implementation is not only conservation and restoration, but it's also creating new areas. And this is probably more relevant for urban areas where nature is already mostly destroyed. But I think what is really important to, as a takeaway, that once we create a green area, it's not a gray infrastructure anymore, but it is a tool, or it is a it is a solution for providing different ecosystem services. So a roof is just a roof, but once a roof becomes a green roof, it will provide the space for stormwater management, noise reduction, or even habitat creation. And when we think of green spaces created in cities, we usually think of parks. I think that's the most likely type of nature-based solutions that we can associate with urban nature-based solutions. Like a larger park, such as the one here in Thailand, or smaller pocket parks or neighborhood spaces. But there are also very specialized nature-based solutions in urban areas. For example, these are specifically designed for water management. You can see that they provide different. This is a biosphere. This is a rain garden, and their purpose is ultimately to take away water when a lot of rain falls, but also to improve the soil quality and also to help with. Sorry, I forget what I wanted to say. But so they are able to provide these multiple benefits that other nature-based solutions. Okay, so the second aspect that I wanted to talk about is about the benefits and how nature-based solutions provide co-benefits. So we know that nature-based solutions have this potential to address climate change, biodiversity loss, and human well-being, which are basically the three main challenges that our societies are facing in the 21st century. So first of all, nature-based solutions have this potential to lower local temperature, decrease heat waves, protect against flooding, but also help with coastal production and reduce the risk of droughts and landslides. So these are all benefits that we could relate to climate change. Nature-based solutions also have the potential to provide social benefits, improve the health and well-being of people, help with social cohesion, social justice, education, provide jobs or other economic opportunities, such as you saw it in the Korean case. And also, because as they originate from nature and they work with nature, they have a major potential for working with biodiversity. They can provide habitats, they can help with loss of biodiversity, but they can also control invasive species and support pollination. So based on our analysis of the Urban Nature Atlas and the cases presented in the Urban Nature Atlas, we saw that almost all the cases will provide some sort of environmental benefits, and most of the cases will also provide social benefits. And according to our analysis, half of the cases also able to provide economic benefits. And when we look at what type of benefits they can provide, we will see different numbers, but many of the projects, for example, have the potential to provide water management benefits or biodiversity benefits, as I discussed before. And for example, 35% of the cases had this potential to protect against flooding. And then another 40% of the cases had potential to increase the number of species present in the area, as a result help with biodiversity improvements. We also found that around 20% of the cases help with improved air quality, such as the case in the phytocapture project. And also, many social benefits were proven. So obviously, with more green spaces in urban areas, you will have a better access to green spaces. But these spaces were also shown to improve people's connection to nature or provide opportunities for social interaction. Besides as I mentioned, the environmental and the social benefits, I really wanted to share this slide and tell you that we are finding more and more evidence that nature-based solutions are also providing economic and financial benefits. Some projects are able to generate revenues. In urban areas, this can come from increased property prices or increased local business revenues. But in peri-urban areas, when the nature-based solutions are larger, they could benefit from selling carbon, water, and biodiversity credits, for example. Many of the nature-based solutions, and this is their major potential, they can provide cost savings, meaning that they can lower infrastructure investment cost. And a nature-based solution is often cheaper. than a gray infrastructure solution. So in case of the Korean river restoration project, one of the reasons why they decided to open a river was because they understood that destroying the highway and then rebuilding it will be much more expensive than reopening the area. They can also, nature-based solutions can also lower infrastructure maintenance cost. As I show you with the rainwater management case, they can really decrease the cost of stormwater management. And this was the third benefits that I wanted to mention earlier, that green areas for water management has an enormous potential to take off the pressure from the sewage system and help with stormwater management in a much cheaper price. Thirdly, nature-based solutions have a potential to provide indirect economic benefits. So greener areas will attract more businesses. Maybe they will help with social stability. They will provide jobs. They can increase productivity, for example, because the health benefits of the NbS can reduce the number of sick days of workers. Okay, so a real example that we have provided in the UNEP publication about business models. When you implement a forest conservation or restoration project, the main benefits include carbon sequestration. As you will likely implement it in a larger area, the carbon sequestration benefits can be considerable. Improved air quality through pollutant absorption, temperature regulation to lower the local temperature. And when you implement such a project, this temperature regulation will not only happen in the forested area, but it will also have a positive impact on the surrounding areas. It will have an improved water management, such as you saw it in the central Arkansas case. When you improve the forest, you will help with the river flow, and you will reduce the flood and the drought risk parallelly. Such a project can help with recreational opportunities, but also it can reduce healthcare costs and improve health, and it can provide business opportunities. And specifically, when we look at the revenue streams, they can generate revenues from ecotourism, from sustainable forestry, from enhanced property values, but also revenues from selling carbon credits, as I mentioned earlier.
1 minute.
Okay, I'm finishing. Thank you. So just to close, obviously not everything is pink and shiny. NbS monitoring is challenging. As we saw it, I think the work that Brandon and his team is doing is really important because the evidence base for efficient design and delivery of NbS project is still limited. There are different kind of multiple benefits of NbS projects that makes comprehensive assessment challenging. The scope and the time horizon of the assessment can influence the results. Many projects don't have the resources to do such an assessment, and we see it from our analysis that only 30–40% of the projects can actually evaluate some of the benefits and not all of them. So just to close my presentation, I think it's really important to support and back up implementation of project with scientific data, not only to understand the impacts that the project is delivering, but also to create an evidence base for future projects. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you very much, Dora. I mean, there's so much information there. And so I assume reviewing 1,200 nature-based solutions all around the world, you could speak to us for days on the topic, but you were really concise and provided some very good information. And also from my experience, one thing that we need to do with our work is to do a longitudinal study. Because that you're right, like we do the modeling, we show that this will have some form of impact, but we need to actually then assess the impact post-implementation. And I think that that's something that I would like to do in my future work. So we're lucky to have with us today, and thank you for your patience, Jasper, global expert on many different things related to ecological restoration and mitigation. And he has some very interesting examples coming from South America, I believe, right? With a gold mine there. So we're very happy to have Jasper with us. He's from Tau Engineering Firm, and we look forward to his concrete presentation on nature-based solutions for the gold mining industry in South America. Thank you very much, Jasper, and we look forward to your presentation. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you see my presentation and hear me all right?
Yes, we can. And just one more thing to the audience is that we will go 10 minutes over so we can have a few questions and answers after his presentation. So we'll end promptly at probably 4:10. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Jess.
Yep. Thank you very much. I think even though I am the last of this line of presentations, it's a good spot to be in because we just looked at all the benefits of nature-based solutions. And from our experience, as you mentioned, we're Tau, an international engineering consultancy. We often implement these nature-based solutions. So I want to share with you some, basically our process of the nature-based solutions in this context, the rehabilitation of artisanal small-scale gold mines in the Guiana Shield, so in South America, indeed. Just want to go through the problem and context, what we are doing, and then some guidelines we are developing and how an actual project looks like from our perspective, and then the road ahead. So when we look at this area, the Guiana Shield, the north of South America, basically, we can see that this is one of the most biodiverse areas in the world. We all know the Amazon rainforest. Well, this is where it's at. But it's also a location where you've got a lot of gold present. A lot of this gold is pretty much spread throughout the area through the fluvial system. So it's an interesting combination, which makes that a lot of gold mining is happening here and a lot of deforestation is caused by this gold mining. Because the process of this gold mining is often that they use water jets to make the soil liquid, basically, and filter the gold out. In that process, all of the topsoil, it all gets buried, and there's huge overburdens, there's huge pits that are left. So all your fertility, your topsoil, etc., it's gone. And then it looks like this. What used to be pristine rainforest turns into a degraded piece of land, a wasteland almost. As I mentioned, this degradation of the topsoil, especially in this area, is very problematic because over here the nutrients are all present in the topsoil of about 20 centimeters. What we see in some other areas of the world is that you've got a very deep soil, which is a lot more resistant to these practices. Over here, it's all about the top 20%. So this fertile soil is very easily lost with these mining practices, which brings us to the question, how can we restore this fertile layer? Basically, there's a couple of different things that we need to consider, which is the sources for nutrients available for plants, which we can increase by using plant or crop residues and organic waste or compost. We need to improve the soil structure. The structure is important for the absorption of nutrients, but also the demobilization of harmful substances, for example, mercury, which is often used in gold mining, and aggregates, like healthy topsoil or healthy soil hotspots that cling together. They need to be reintroduced as well. These are all flushed away in the gold mining process. Last one is soil organisms. There's a lot of smaller and larger organisms that are essential for the breakdown of these plant and crop residues that I just mentioned, that they play an essential function and they need to be restored in the soil as well. Without these soil organisms, you can never have a healthy soil. So these organisms have to come from somewhere as well. They have to be important and they simply need some time. All these three aspects, nutrients, structure, and organisms, are essential to restore this topsoil. So we need to turn this desolated wasteland that we saw again, and we need to turn that, and we need to use all three of these aspects here. Now, what are we doing? We as Tau, together with CELOS, which is the Agricultural Research Institution of Suriname, AMSEX, it's a government program under the Ministry of Environment, and Wageningen University. we've combined our forces to basically implement the site rehabilitation using nature-based solutions at Company Creek. We've got two main objectives. We are developing guidelines for practitioners throughout the Guiana Shield, tropical regions, probably also usable beyond that geographical area, to how to restore these former gold mines. And we are implementing an actual pilot of rehabilitation. And as you can see on this satellite image, you can see the rainforest is everywhere around, but you can see where there used to be a creek, there is all this degraded soil right now. So it shows the impact of this gold mining and also the challenges ahead in terms of geographical scale. So we want to show what we can do and how to do it, and we want to share these lessons through these guidelines. In these guidelines, they are now developed in draft, then they will be supplemented with our practical lessons of the project in Company Creek. We aim at reaching all practitioners of nature-based solutions and former gold mine restoration projects. And we also include a non-technical summary for communication purposes. What we often see in these areas is that most gold miners, they are simply local people trying to make a living, and they're not highly technically skilled people as probably the ones that are sitting at this table today. So we want to reach out to them as well. In these guidelines, we identify 7 different steps, which is a baseline assessment. I already saw it in a previous presentation, monitoring and evidence-based for nature-based solutions. It's crucial. What we often see is that some monitoring is done, but there's no decent baseline assessment. A baseline is crucial to know what the actual impact is of what you're doing. A decision framework, why and when are you going to do what? The soil restoration plan, nature development, and the integration of this in the livelihoods of the local people. These are often communities far away from cities that depend on these areas for their livelihood. And the project depends on them as well, because they're the natural, they're the local custodians of the land. Development of an implementation protocol, monitoring, evaluation, and adaptive operation, and the governance and financing, which is actually an important part throughout the project. We've developed a conceptual framework. Because of the time, I won't go through it in detail. I'm just showing some snapshots of it. But we distinguish between the inputs of activities, the activities to output, the outcomes, and the impacts. And thereby we try to make a coherent plan covering all these aspects. For a decision framework, we are being guided by specific questions, like the contamination stages. If there is any contamination at the site, that should be your main priority. I've heard some interesting things about phytoremediation already. These kinds of methodologies are presented here as well. Physical hazards, think about steep slopes and potential for mud streams. These should be tackled as well. How can you do that? Only then can you come to actual soil restoration. So soil health, is there any issues with that? Generally, you do have soil health issues. So how can we increase that again? And when that's done, we are hopefully at the desired end state. And for this end state, we look at nature development and agricultural and livelihoods increase. And after that, you still need your monitoring and your adaptive management. So if we look at step 4, nature development and integration of livelihoods, as I said, the local people are the custodians of the land, and they should feel the responsibility and the ownership of what we're doing. In order to make them feel that, they need to benefit from it. The best way for them to benefit from this rehabilitated mine site is for them to make money of it. So you can look at options like agroforestry, a combination of trees and crops, or aquaculture. These mining pits that we have just seen at this site, can you grow fish in them so that people are stimulated to keep the water quality higher? In terms of nature development, nature development is a long process in these areas with these degraded soils, which often starts with legume planting so that they bind nitrogen to the soil again, the development of grass and bush, and eventually after years only a healthy forest. What is often done to help this is applied nucleation. So instead of trying to restore the soil throughout the whole site, have specific hotspots where you use, for example, tree pits, so that at least you clear its shade and you reduce erosion and you can give the soil a fair chance to be rehabilitated. Monitoring, evaluation, and adaptive management, very strongly, of course, related to what your actual goals are. Important aspect is to develop or to establish your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Think about percentage of improved soil, reducing signs of erosion, percentage of seedlings that are successfully growing, but also look at the local community, train individuals, make sure that they are engaged and they know what to do. Water quality can be improved as well. And for each of, ideally, for each of your KPIs, you will have a method of monitoring, a frequency developed or established already, and you have a main responsible person. Only when you've got these aspects covered will you be able to have a decent and focused monitoring program. Now, these guidelines give a lot of guidance on how you can measure all these different things and what kind of frequencies should be adhered to. Too much detail for now for the 15 minutes. If we look at our demonstration pilot, already introduced the area briefly. Unfortunately, it's a rehabilitation pilot, so we could only cover a small part of the area. So we're focusing, this is the whole degraded area. We're focusing on this area close to the town, which looks like this. And we wanted to make this area safe as it's close to the village. We want to provide space for civil expansion. We want to improve the water quality of the creek, which is running over here. And we want to improve the soil. These objectives are not made up by us. They have been developed in cooperation with the local community. I'll just go through the design briefly. But this is what it looks like. We're going to expand the creek in width so that we can increase sedimentation. We're using some active sedimentation retention measures there as well. We're going to create a floodplain which is going to be vegetated so that it's more erosion resistant. We're going to expand the area for housing with leveling this area, but also compacting it and making a safe embankment towards a lower lying floodplain. And we're gonna implement an area for agriculture and agroforestry where the actual soil restoration is going on. We've made some cross sections where we also include what kind of soil type we would like to have at each of these different areas. Topsoil is especially important for your agroforestry plots, but also some sort of soil health should be present where we have the floodplain, because we want some vegetation there so that it is erosion resistant. For the water quality, as I mentioned, we look at widening the creek, decreasing the velocity of the creek by giving it more room, but also creating some baffles, which are basically nets, reducing the flow even more and making sure that the sediments get stuck between these baffles and is not part of the water column of the creek anymore. For the replanting schedule in the agroforestry, we have looked deeply into the vegetation types that can be used, and we are using tree pits with the main measures are being the use of biochar, the reuse of topsoil in the area, and also the collection of litter in the area, which is being implemented over here. We are looking at increasing the soil carbon content, applying mulch material, but also the fruit production so that the local people are actually motivated to contribute and to keep operating the plants that we're making now. And for the soil health, an ideal carbon and nitrogen ratio is of utmost importance. For this, together with CELOS, the agricultural institution, we've developed a plan of different plants and crops that we are planting over here. So in the end, we are aiming to create these guidelines for a wide group of practitioners for the practical implementation of nature-based solutions for artisanal small-scale gold mines. And these guidelines are updated with our practical underground lessons that we've learned over here to restore these wastelands that you see here on the left into nature, agroforestry, and safe spaces for the local community. One important last message is we can put a lot of effort into the rehabilitation of these areas, but it often takes years. And before you get back what you have lost, what was there before, it's taking a lot of money, a lot of time, and it's even questionable whether you're actually going to reach that perfect state again. So if a big message of us as well is when mining is done, please do not waste the topsoil and bury it and make it dead. Please save it, and as part of your mining concession, include a rehabilitation program, so that with your planning and your execution of your mining, you can make our work a lot easier and degrade the land a lot less. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jasper. It's very interesting. I think directly applicable to Central Asia, given all the gold mines that exist in the region. And I'm always saying when I speak with people with Tao, it's not very often, you know, I speak with people who do work that actually have real significant impact on local communities and the environment. And so I also want to commend what you do as an engineer and the team at Tao, because it really makes a difference all over the world, and commend you for your work. So we also have the pleasure of having Vlastimil Samak, who is the United Nations Communications Representative for the Department of Global Communications. He came late, but it's always a pleasure to see him no matter when he comes. So I know he had an urgent task previously and he let us know ahead of time. But thank you, Vlastimil, for being here on behalf of the United Nations. And we look forward to a few words from you. Please, I give you the floor.
Well, thank you very much, Brendan. I hope you can hear me well, because the internet is quite unstable here.
We hear you well.
Good. Well, thank you for inviting me. Actually, thank you all colleagues for actually attending such an interesting event. Frankly speaking, I am not here to make any concluding remarks or actually to make comments, because unfortunately, and I apologize for that, I could join with certain unintentional delay. However, what is important for all of us as we speak about the sustainable world, and as we speak about the, let's say, environmental solutions, as we speak about actually, and this is the topic of this global symposium, when we speak about nature-based solutions for mine waste management, we feel one thing, that the mine business actually is actually global, is definitely very much, excuse me for the background sounds, I'm actually online from the place where I live. So the mines usually are really extreme polluters. In Europe, where I come from, now it's a must, and the solutions really are quite tough, because as the previous Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, said at a certain point, we have no plan B for this planet. We cannot move to Mars or the moon. Simply, let's be reasonable. So we also are very much responsible for what is going to be left to the future generations. The young people do not deserve that they would be suffering from all, let's say, the results of mining. I have lived in Mongolia for some time, quite a long time. So I saw, for example, how such beautiful country has been suffering from actually gold mining, copper mining, copper processing, coal mining, and so on. So how the once crystal clear rivers were actually polluted and almost destroyed, how the scenery has changed, reshaped. And of course, all that has impacted not people living there, but in a way also the region. And finally, like it or not, once, and this is the issue of climate change, once the local actually sort of area, these processes happening, then of course it's impacting also the climate change as such. And we are seeing that here, for example, this winter it's December and we have +8, okay, which is quite of, in Kazakhstan, quite unusual. Brendan is not far from me, so he can just endorse what I'm saying, that there used to be winters where -20 was a standard temperature and tons of snow. And going back to the topic, actual waste management, of course, I'm speaking for this region now, but if you think globally, we see the impact of mining in Africa, where still, I think there's a lot to be done by the international corporations, and also a lot to be done by the international organizations like the UN, like others, UNEP, for example, or UN Habitat, because it's also about making the people aware, making the people well educated, actually, how they can contribute, that these processes are kind of less harmful to the nature, that reprocessing, for example, of the waste, which is, I think, one of the very good initiatives, are really kind of implemented in much bigger scale. Because finally, when we manage to, I do not know the percentage, apology, I cannot kind of say how many percent of the waste from mines is being reprocessed. But if ideally we would reach, let's say, 80%, that would be already kind of really a kind of game-changing factor. So with that, again, I'll get back to the very beginning of my hopefully not too long sort of thoughts I'm sharing with you. When we talk about the sustainability and sustainable development, and Brendan is our expert on that, and I'm thanking him every day when I see him, because thanks to him, the population here is really understanding the essence, what is it about. That's not just a slogan or some infographics, but the sustainability itself is actually a process that will take certain time, will require resources, but most importantly, will require the human resources, the human minds. And the same goes with the topic of today's symposium. Everything is possible, everything is achievable. It's about us, about all of us who are meeting here today. And I'm truly grateful to all of you that you have actually dedicated yourself to such an important team and have been discussing that. So once again, thank you very much. And I wish we could meet in 50 or 100 years from now and to see the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlastimil. We appreciate your words, and you're absolutely right that mining industry is very impactful and causes quite a lot of stress in the local environment and for people. And so we need more ways to try to mitigate to some degree or to restaurate areas that are impacted by mining. And you know, mining won't go away, but how we mine, we can change. And so I think that that's very important.
May I suggest a slogan?
Yeah, go ahead.
To this symposium.
Go ahead.
Mind the minds.
Yeah, mind the minds. Very good. Okay, well, thank you very much. So we're going to have to close very soon, and I'll have a few closing remarks, but I would like to open the floor to maybe 1 or 2 questions from the audience. If somebody has a question, please write it in the chat box. If we don't have any questions which are written, then what I will do, since I have all of your emails, you registered for the event, we're going to be producing an outcome document with a summarization of what was discussed. And we will send it to all of you. And if you have any pressing questions for the presenters, you're more than welcome to send us your comments once you receive the closing document. So I will now just have a few closing words. So today we showed that nature-based solutions such as phytocapture are not only experimental, but they're also operational technologies supported by scientific evidence and real-world industrial deployment. And what began as applied research at our university has become commercially implemented at RG Gold. And also has been widely recognized. We saw that the future of sustainable mining depends not only on isolated efforts, but on strong ecosystems of collaboration between universities, public sector, government institutions, and the United Nations. And this is how innovation moves from research to commercialization to large-scale impact. And so some of the key priorities we saw is scaling finance for nature-based solutions, expanding international partnerships, and strengthening the commercialization pathways for applied environmental research. And I will add an additional one from the last 2 interventions we had from the speakers, is that more science-based evidence that these type of nature-based solutions really make an impact, and also to be sure that you have a baseline assessment before you engage in any sort of interventions, because without a baseline, you really don't know what type of changes, how your interventions are making changes in the field. And so that's very important. My institute remains fully committed to continuing this work, supporting industry, advancing research and commercialization, and also positioning Kazakhstan and Central Asia as contributors to the global transition toward a cleaner and more responsible mining industry. Thank you once again to all the speakers and for your time here today. I appreciate also the support for our research and the ability to actually deploy it in the field at RG Gold. So we'd like to thank our partners at RG Gold for their support on this, and look forward to continuing the dialogue in the discussions in the upcoming symposiums and conferences and commercialized research in the years to come. So thank you very much to everyone. I'm going to conclude the event today, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, Jasper, as well, and Dora and everybody else. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you, Brendan.
Bye-bye.